The following is a clip from a video I uploaded a few months ago, but quickly deleted from my channel, called The End of YouTube, We Are Powerless, in which I discussed a growing system of outside pressure responsible for the censoring of YouTube content. But when I see the Israeli government say it will pay over $3,000 in grants to African refugees as a monetary incentive for them to leave, claiming this move was specifically designed to, quote, protect the Jewish and democratic character, while at the same time, over 1,000 rabbis sign a letter in support of welcoming millions of refugees into America, something's not right. I deleted this a week after uploading, as many people whose ideas I deeply respect contacted me via email and Twitter, proving how nonsensical and irresponsible the claim was. Saying 1,000 rabbis in America says nothing about the immigration policies in Israel. I was embarrassed and removed it. Many of you who are familiar with my channel, who've been with me since the very beginning, have been mimicking the same concern for the last several months. And that concern is that the content I've been putting out has been moving further and further to the right, or seems to have less of the spiritual, hopeful, center-left qualities that were present in the beginning. I agree with your concerns. My content has become more and more focused on alt-right talking points, because in many ways, the mind that I occupy is alt-right. But I don't want to be. I'm disgusted with the person I've become. The alt-right, or the way I am when living through the lens of its ideology, is disgusting. I only see differences in groups now. The similarities among people is lost on me. When I go to the market and see a black man behind the counter, my mind thinks of IQ statistics, or white displacement, or crime statistics. Everything that separates this person from me. When I hear the word immigrant, my mind shudders with antipathy. I'm annoyed by the very notion of them, but I don't want to be. I want to be the kinder, gentler person I used to be. I want to see them as human beings, as fellow neighbors of sentience. I want to focus on the qualities of one's character and not their race, because I have always hated the alt-right, and to become what I hate is an indescribable feeling of moral failure and delusion. I have what seems to be endless empathy for white people. The idea of becoming a minority and being told they're racist for being concerned about this hurts me, but my empathy burns out when discussing the well-being of any other group of people. This is fucked up. What has happened to me is wrong. Think of me as being in recovery from being alt-right, which will certainly get this video a lot of dislikes. But I don't give a fuck about that anymore. Or at least I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be done skirting what's true about my experience for fear of dislikes or backlash, because that's the real beast that influences me. I also don't want anyone to think that because I'm revealing this, that my previous views were dishonest. I've always been honest about what I think. And I've only just recently figured all this insanity out about myself. As for the idea that I'm a crypto-fascist creating neo-Nazi propaganda, or my actual views on Hitler, or what I meant by dog whistle in a stream, all of which are miles away from what my detractors think, or what Destiny and his crowd thinks, are explained in a 45-minute audio clip linked in the description. I tell you everything. I explain why I made the problem with the alt-right videos the way that I did. I explain what caused my views to move further to the right. I explain how Spino's video was incredibly dishonest and wrong. And the reason I didn't upload it here is not because it costs money or anything like that. It's because it's completely unedited and too personal and cringy and vulnerable for this channel. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. I do say many times in the recording that I'm stopping YouTube for good. That's not true. I was just being a dramatic little bitch. Because YouTube is what I'm meant to do. Making videos rests in my bones. I have to find a way to occupy YouTube's internet labyrinth of insanity without falling into these extremist ideological positions. This will be difficult, as the damage has already been done. But my immediate focus will be on extending the compassion I do have to everyone, regardless of race, regardless of gender, or religion, or political persuasion, while still being honest about the troubles we face. I'm trying to change, and hopefully those of you in the skeptic community who have supported me will continue to, and those of you who have remained patrons will continue to. And to those of you who have been trying to remove my patrons, you can go fuck yourselves. My name is John Canal.
It was about 2 weeks ago that I made a video calling out the skeptic YouTuber Mouthy Buddha for dog whistling to the alt-right. I saw the first 2 parts of his Jewish question video. I thought it was extremely disingenuous. I felt it was pandering to the alt-right's position on quote-unquote the Jewish question, pandering to anti-Semites. And myself and quite a few other members of the social justice community pressed on various members of the skeptic community to call out Mouthy Buddha's bald-faced anti-Semitism and obvious affiliation with the alt-right. And there were these giant threads on Twitter where skeptics defended Mouthy Buddha to hell and back. And, you know, somebody in our community is not going to be alt-right. I know him. He's my friend. He's definitely not dog whistling to the alt-right. Relationships were crashed. Friends were pushed aside, all in the name of defending Mouthy Buddha, another covert alt-righter, now in his own words, now admitted in his own words. Mouthy Buddha said that the mind I occupy is alt-right, but I don't want to be. This is indicative of the skeptic plausible deniability syndrome that shields people like Lauren Southern, who are extremely, explicitly white nationalist, explicitly anti-Semitic, explicitly alt-right at this point, Islamophobic, militantly anti-immigrant, engaging in terrorist activities in order to undermine immigration into Europe. This now applies to Mouthy Buddha, who swore up and down that he was not sympathetic to the alt-right, that he was debunking the alt-right. Good old Sargon of Akkad popped up in his comment section talking about, this is fucking genius, this is brilliant, steelmanning the alt-right and then tearing them to the ground, this is revolutionary. And no less than 24 hours later, Mouthy Buddha pops up on his own YouTube channel, the mind that I occupy is alt-right, but I don't want to be. When I go to the market, I see a black man, and all I can think of are IQ statistics, white displacement, and crime statistics. Immigrants, I'm annoyed by the notion of them. I have endless empathy for white people. I am not a crypto-fascist. These it's fascinating the amount of doublethink that you can employ in order to hold on to your position in the existing post-Sargon skeptic community, extent to which you can bullshit and split hairs and express and endorse and carry water for these deeply hateful, dangerous points of view, these political stances that endorse genocide, and still keep your skeptic credibility and still remain intact in that community. As long as you don't say I am alt-right, you can get away with the mind that I occupy is alt-right. Now that's a new one. I never thought that you could go that far into plausible deniability that you can go, now wait a minute, now I'm not alt-right, but the mind that I occupy, this is like a metaphysical dodge. You know what I mean? I can't see anybody in the social justice community using metaphysics to exonerate themselves from Holocaust denial or Nazi apologia or any of the umpteen things that Mouthy Buddha lets himself off the hook for. And in addition to that, the fact that even after this horseshit video came out, after this completely irrational self-defense came out, there were no concessions. There were no, oh, we were wrong about Mouthy Buddha. He's just another covert alt-righter in the skeptic community. He's another Rage After Storm. He's another edgy Sphinx. No. Because again, unless the obsession with the explicit in the skeptic community, meaning that, wait a minute now, you can do whatever you want. You're not racist unless you say you're racist. You're not alt-right unless you say specifically, without qualifiers, that you're alt-right. Now, your mind doesn't count, right? Because apparently, in the wake of Mouthy Buddha, now you can literally have an alt-right mind. You can hold alt-right political opinions. You can hold alt-right sympathies. You can spread alt-right propaganda. But as long as your mind is left or liberal, whatever the hell he wants to call it, he gets let off the hook. Which is fascinating to me, because if Steve Shives, for example, made a video against Zionism or something in the Middle East, and he somehow skirted or edged, theoretically, hypothetically, on anti-Semitism, oh, there would be an outcry. Every single tweet that came down the line from Steve Shives would have 6 people underneath it. What about you being a Nazi? Well, what about you denying the Holocaust? Well, what about you being an anti-Zionist? What about you being an anti-Semite? The great expose, conservative expose Twitter accounts like Ian Miles Chong and Paul Joseph Watson would just kind of go on, the Nazis in the social justice community. Oh, if let's say, for example, that Christy Winters made a video where she defended crimes committed by Stalin or Mao, again, it would be Bering doing a bunch of videos. What about victims of the Holodomor? What about these people were outraged that theoretically people within the social justice community didn't feel sympathy for Richard Spencer when he got punched. But they're fine with, the mind that I occupy is an alt-right mind. When I go to the market and see a black man behind the counter, I think of IQ statistics, white displacement, and crime statistics. Mouthy Buddha is saying in his video that he does not see human beings when he sees black people. He is saying that he does not see human beings when he sees immigrants. And this statement is uncontroversial in his own community, because the first 3 minutes of his video seem to effectively say, I've been a crypto-fascist all this time. But again, the obsession with the explicit. He implies that he's been alt-right. He implies that he's been a Nazi sympathizer. He implies that he is racist and considers black people subhuman. He implies that he's a race realist. And then after doing all this stuff, implicating all these things about himself, he then gets away with, I'm not a crypto-fascist. This is the biggest problem that we have talking across the aisle with the right wing and the skeptic movement as their chief arbiters, is the idea of, you can imply all day long. You can get away with proposing and the implications of these horrendous, dehumanizing political talking points, as long as you follow that with, I'm not a secret Nazi.